Well, China has been present in the Western Balkans since the early 2000s. So basically its presence did not start with the Belt and Road Initiative, but it certainly intensified. And not only with the Belt and Road Initiative, but I would say rather with the regional offshoot, and that is the cooperation between China and the Central and Eastern European countries. All of the countries in the region saw this initiative as a way to intensify their cooperation with China. In the past, it was unimaginable for smaller countries and their leaders to have a seat at the table with the Chinese Prime Minister, for instance. But with this cooperation, they managed to find a channel to put forward their interests and expectations in the cooperation with China. Thanks to the deals that they have had in this region, Chinese companies managed to further penetrate the European single market, which is much bigger and more important for them than just the Western Balkan market. Just one example, they built the Pupin Bridge in Belgrade. Then the same company went on to win the highway construction in Montenegro, and later on to build the Pelješac Bridge in Croatia, which was funded mostly through European funds. So we clearly see an evolution and development in the capacity and in the portfolios of Chinese companies, which is very beneficial for China to ensure global presence. China is here to stay. So on one hand, we will continue to be on the crossroad between the East and the West, and we will need to find a balance in the economic cooperation with China. Obviously, all the countries have a legitimate right to cooperate with China when it's to their benefit, but they will need to somehow assess more carefully the security implications of that economic cooperation. And in this respect, we can see further differentiation between Serbia on one hand, which continues to welcome Chinese companies and also to somehow accommodate Chinese interests in the region, and the other countries, on the other hand, where China and Chinese companies are somehow becoming less welcome. China has the prerogative to terminate the loan contracts for any political or policy reason that it deems important. So this is very asymmetrical, and it gives China an advantage. It makes also the countries that take this loan very dependent economically and very vulnerable to China. So I would say that maybe even the numbers are not an issue. The overall model of the contracts that Serbia is signing, like the other countries that take Chinese loan, should be somehow a reason for concern. For China, it is important to find a way to satisfy its business interests, its economic interests, but we cannot say that it is always about these business interests, because China is a very transactional player. So when we see the current state of play in Serbia, for instance, Serbia is not only cooperating with China on economic terms, but it is also using China's support politically on the Kosovo issue, and it provides its own support to China or when it comes to Chinese sensitive issues such as Xinjiang, Hong Kong, Tibet, Taiwan, the South China Sea. So the cooperation is never exclusively about the economy or about profit, but it is aimed to further the overarching Chinese interests in different categories. And in this respect, China is very skillful at making those links between the economy and the politics or the geopolitics.